The LM Drive. LM Drive. This is the LM Radio Drive with Gavin Buckle.
It is your happy listening station, LM Radio with Gavin Buckle. The Climb there, originally done by Miley Cyrus. However, today it is a tribute to the health workers by Wouter Kellerman and the Ndlovu Youth Choir. Wouter Kellerman received a 2014 Grammy Award for his album, Winds of Samsara. The album reached number 1 on the US Billboard chart and also peaked at number 1 on the Zone Music Reporter Top 100 International Radio Airplay chart in July of 2014. It won both the ZMR Album of the Year and Best World Album. His following album, Love Language, debuted at number 1 on the World Music Billboard charts in its first week. In December of 2015, it received a Grammy nomination for the Best Contemporary Instrumental Album. In May of 2016, Love Language won the South African Music Awards Best Instrumental and/or Classical Album. These are just a few of the awards in a seemingly never-ending list. It is now an honor and a privilege to have the 2014 Grammy Award-winning flutist Wouter Kellerman join me on Zoom. Welcome, Wouter.
Thanks, Gavin. Thanks for having me. It's lovely to be chatting to you.
Before we delve deeper into your accolades and experiences with the many choirs that you've collaborated with over the years, tell me, when did your passion for playing the flute begin?
It started very early. When I was 10 years old, my parents took me to a symphony concert and they asked me which instrument I'd like to play. They were very encouraging, and I liked the idea of expressing myself with breath, like in talking or singing. So the wind instruments were always my first choice, and I saw that the flute points to the side and it's somehow different than the other wind instruments. So I decided to go for the flute at the time, and I just loved it from the first moment. I just really enjoyed expressing myself on the flute.
And then did it follow on all through your school years as well?
Yes, I actually what happened, my teacher was sick for the first week. So my parents rented a flute, but I wasn't allowed to put it together because my mom said we don't really know how to put it together. We might just break it. So every day I would open the box and look at the flute longingly, wondering how does it go together. So by the next week, when we finally were able to put it together with the teacher, I was so keen. So after my first lesson, I went home and practiced for 3 hours. And that started a trend. I took it all through my school years. I was playing the flute, and even later on, when I actually studied engineering, I never stopped playing the flute.
So your flute homework wasn't like the rest of your schoolwork, which was pretty much a drag. This just came naturally.
Yeah, it was just fun. It was just, and my first teacher was really amazing. She was really encouraging. And as a 10-year-old, very open to influences. I was very much influenced by her.
And where did you receive your big break? Was it a big break, or was it more a slow boil to success?
It was a slow boil until the big break. So basically, after school, I wanted to study music, but I didn't have money. My parents didn't have money. So basically, I had to study something I could get a bursary for. And I did receive a bursary to study electronic engineering from Anglo American. So I studied that, which I also enjoyed, but my passion was in music. And after the bursary, I had to go and work back my bursary, and eventually decided to do music and swap from the engineering to the music world. And my money ran out very quickly every time I tried to do that swap, because by then I had a young family, and it was really difficult to swap from engineering to music. It took me about 20 years of trying to finally, about in 2006, I finally made that conversion successfully. And since then, it's been a roller coaster ride. But the big break was winning the Grammy, and that's what's kind of really helped to put me on the map.
So was winning the Grammy your catalyst into getting into more mainstream?
I've always listened very widely, and although I studied classical music all those years, I was always very interested. And in 2006, I started doing the crossover and melding or combining different cultures into my own version of songs and writing my own music. So that started in 2006, and that led to the Grammy eventually, I think.
Now, you're no stranger to life on the road. You've been to places like Berlin, Shanghai, Delhi, New York, Sydney, many others. Do you like life on the road? Is it productive? Do you prefer to stay at home?
Well, actually, I had a look when the lockdown started. I looked, and at the previous 10 years, I had 100 overseas trips. So I averaged 10 overseas trips a year, which is just crazy. The jet lag, and it's not like we go overseas and have fun. We normally have a lot of work to do. So it was a bit too much, and the lockdown kind of helped me to realize that I'm traveling too much. But as a musician, you have to take all the opportunities that come your way. Opportunities are rare, and it's not easy to make a living as a musician. So you kind of have to balance, all those factors and try and make it work for you.
And the purpose of your travels, was it to record or to perform live?
Both, mostly to perform, but very much to travel as well. The Grammy-winning album Winds of Samsara is a collaboration with the Indian producer Angelique Kidjo. So I've collaborated with many artists all over the world, and I love doing that. And I love exploring different roots, forms of music, and different cultures and ethnic sounds, and I love to bring that into the music.
And your favorite destination?
India is one of my favorites, more so because of the depth of the music and the collaborations that I've been able to make happen over there. It's just mind-blowing. We've been working, for example, with the Rajasthani folk musicians, and that music is passed on from a generation to generation. It's not written down. And we met these musicians a few years back, and it was just mind-blowing to hear that music coming. It's thousands-year-old music, and somehow we can instinctively connect. There's something about roots music that really connects, and our African/classical form of music that I had been working on, very intuitively connected with the Indian traditional music, and those were just mind-blowing experiences.
And the song "The Long Road," which was written as a solo flute piece for Nelson Mandela. Sorry, excuse me. What inspired you to write that?
Well, I've been so inspired by Nelson Mandela over these years, and the way I could show my appreciation is to write a song for him. So I wrote this piece where I describe his life with the colors of the flute, and it's a programmatic work where every section of his life is presented by a part of the piece. And I use extended techniques on the flute. I use the normal flute sounds, but I also use breathy sounds, percussive sounds, and I also do beatboxing on the flute, which we call flute boxing. So I combine all those sounds that the flute can make to really tell the story of Nelson Mandela's life in an artistic way.
And that song won a 2016 Global Peace Song Award.
Yes, that was really fantastic, and I was very happy to perform that on Nelson Mandela Day many years back, and apparently he watched from his hospital bed, which really is one of the highlights of my life, really.
And I believe you've performed that in front of 80,000 live people.
Yes, and it was televised as well. So. And that's a 5-minute solo flute piece, only flute. no drums, no bass, no guitar. So it was pretty nerve-wracking to be performing for. And there was a lot of sports people in the audience who came for the soccer and the rugby. And so I was quite nervous to perform it, but it all went really well. And I think somehow people are able to appreciate those roots elements and the motivation behind the music.
But you've also teamed up together with the Soweto Gospel Choir, the Kwazulu Natal Philharmonic, as well as Angelique Kidjo for a tribute to Nelson Mandela.
Yes, we did that. The whole album, it was an epic project to put together. It was really quite a huge, it took years to put it all together, and working with the amazing Soweto Gospel Choir and, spending a lot of time deciding which songs to do that would pay tribute to Nelson Mandela. It was very satisfying to work with them, as well as the KwaZulu Philharmonic, and to put that. And then on his centenary year, we released it.
Are you a big fan of Ed Sheeran?
Yes, I am. He's kind of a pop star without the frills, and he's a very talented musician, I think.
Because you teamed up with Ndlovu Youth Choir, who currently are the hottest thing on the music scene.
Yes, actually what happened was Tulsi Pillay, my manager, we were looking to do a corporate and we needed a choir. And she found the Ndlovu Youth Choir, who at that stage were completely unknown. And we worked with them on this project and absolutely fell in love with their spirit and their energy. So I decided to do a song with them. And we ended up doing Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, doing an African version of Shape of You. And when we released that on YouTube, on my YouTube channel and on Facebook, it just went crazy. It went viral, many millions of views very quickly. And America's Got Talent then saw this clip and became aware of the Ndlovu Choir, and then phoned them and asked them to enter America's Got Talent. And the rest is kind of a history, because they went all the way to the finals. And now it was so beautiful to see them come into their own and to really make their talent shine and really own the space that's there for them and really make it happen. They're absolutely amazing, this choir. South Africa's just got amazing choirs. It's really special, the talent we have in South Africa.
Now, apart from your musical skills, I believe you're quite the philanthropist as well. You've been supporting the living expenses of 10 children in the SOS Children's Village in Ennerdale for the last 18 years.
Yes, about 20 years ago, I decided that I would love to make some kind of contribution, and I love kids. I feel we have so much to learn from kids, and I also feel like if you wanted to invest in the future of the world, children is the best place to invest it, because if you can positively influence one child, they take that influence into their future, and they marry, they have kids, and that influence then carries on into their future. So it's a really good investment to spend time and money on children. And also I find that I've got so much to learn from them, because we've forgotten a lot of the things that kids know. And so I decided to help the SOS Children's Villages. They do just beautiful work where they take these abandoned or kids without parents, and they create families for them and really support them throughout school and after school. So that's been my chosen charity, where and all my CD sales, all that income goes to the SOS Children's Villages.
Now, I believe you have a new album out. It's called We've Known All Times.
Yes, the lockdown has actually been an opportunity to be very creative. And I've been wanting to go back to my classical roots for so long. And finally, during lockdown, I had the time to make a modern classical album. So it's a modern classical album with world influences. And I was very happy to follow my heart and finally get the moment and the chance to put this together.
What is a modern classical album?
It's a classic album with more contemporary influences. Those influences in my case are mostly world music influence or ethnic influences. So there's some African influence, there's some tango influence, some flamenco influence, some Irish influence. So all those influences come together with the kind of classical approach to making music, and basically combining that, I would say, makes a modern classical album.
And the new single, Stuck With You, is that on the new album?
No, that's just a single where I've worked with Ndlovu Youth Choir, who's a beautiful, beautiful choir in Johannesburg. And they've just been such a pleasure to work with. And we decided to take the Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande song, Stuck With You, and give it our own energy and our own feel. And it's very relevant in coronavirus times. And it's a kind of a love song as well.
Thank you very much. Wouter Kellerman, the 2014 Grammy Award winner. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Gavin. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Wouter Kellerman. And here we go. This is Stuck With You.
The LM Drive. LM Drive. This is the LM Radio Drive with Gavin Buckle.